So starting here at ayah 17, remember that the numbers of the ayahs come after the ayahs. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن يوم الفصل كان ميقاتا. Indeed, the day of segregation, the day of separation, is appointed. يوم ينفخ في الصور فتأتون أفواجا. The day when the horn is blown, the day when it is blown into the horn, فتأتون أفواجا, and you come forth in crowds, in waves. وفتحت السماء فكانت أبوابا, and the sky will be opened. That means it will break into pieces, and it will be having open spaces. We'll explain, inshallah. وسيرت الجبال فكانت سرابا, and the mountains will be set into motion, and they will be as if they were a mirage. So let's start explaining that and go from there. إن يوم الفصل كان ميقاتا. Indeed, the day of fasl, kana miqata, it is timed. The day of fasl, the day of segregation or separation, segregating, separating the good doers from the evil doers. Inna yawm al-fasli bayna al-muhsini wal-musi'i wal-muhiqqi wal-mubtil. The day that differentiates between the good doer and the evil doer, and the day that differentiates between the one who's rightful and entitled and the one who is fraudulent or false or something like that. Al-muhiq wal-mubtil. Muhiq, yani, is something like what I said. Kana miqata. That day of segregation is miqata. It's waqtan mahduda wa muntaha ma'luman liwuqu'i al-jaza. It is a limited time. It has an exact time, and it is for a known time for the payment to happen, for the recompense for the deeds known to Allah. أو ميعاد للثواب والعقاب, or miqatan means mi'ada. Miqatan, a timed. Indeed, the day of segregation is timed, means is an appointment. That day is an appointment for the reward and the punishment. What day is that? يَوْمَ يُنْفَخُ فِي الصُّورِ. The day when it's blown into the horn. بدل من يوم الفصل. أو عطف بيان. That means the ayah says, إِنَّ يَوْمَ الْفَصْلِ كَانَ مِيقَاتًا يَوْمَ يُنْفَخُ فِي الصُّورِ. So indeed, the day of segregation is time. The day when it is blown into the horn. That's like when you say, I saw your brother, Sam. So who's the brother? He's Sam. Who's Sam? The brother. I saw your brother, Sam. It's similar to that. The day, indeed, the day of segregation is time. The day when it is blown into the horn. يَوْمَ يُنْفَخُ فِي الصُّورِ فَتَأْتُونَ أَفْوَاجًا. The day when it is blown into the horn, that means when the angel blows into the horn, but it says yunfakh. So who does the blowing is not mentioned in the ayah. Only that a blowing is done into the horn is here in the ayah. Yawma yunfakhu fis-sur, the day when it is blown into the horn. Fis-suri fil qarn, yani the horn of the angel. Fatatuna afwaja, and then you will come forth in crowds. Hal. This part of the sentence, fatatuna afwaja, the author says that's a hal. That means grammatically it's adverb. So the meaning is the day when it's blown into the horn, when you come forth in crowds, or while you come forth in crowds, or your situation is that you will be coming forth in crowds. That's the meaning of being a hal. يَوْمَ يُنْفَخُ فِي الصُّورِ فَتَأْتُونَ أَفْوَاجًا. The day when it is blown into the horn, and you will come forth while you come forth in crowds, as you come forth in crowds, a jama'atin mukhtalifa, meaning you will come forth in different groups, batches at a time. أو أمما كل أمة مع رسولها, or it means you will come forth as nations, each nation coming forth with its messenger. وَفُتِحَتِ السَّمَاءُ فَكَانَتْ أَبْوَابًا. And وَفُتِحَتِ السَّمَاءُ, the sky will be opened. The sky will be opened. That's literal translation there. Khafifun kufi, and it's recited with the shaddah also. So the way it's written here, khafifun kufi. Yani Imam An-Nasafiyy, his copy that he was explaining the Quran from is actually not the copy that's printed into this book. When I say copy, I mean the recitation. The recitation that Imam An-Nasafiyy is his copy of Mus'haf. His Mus'haf recitation copy is different from what's printed, published here in this document. So that's why he says here about this ayah, وَفُتِحَتِ السَّمَاءُ خَفِيفٌ kufi. He's saying this ayah was recited without a shaddah. Well, that's what's there without a shaddah. وَفُتِحَت, because his copy that he was using for authoring has a shaddah. وَفُتِحَتِ السَّمَاءُ. And so he's mentioning that it's recited without a shaddah. But this publication was produced not according to the copy, to a copy exactly like Imam An-Nasafiy's copy that he used for his Tafsir. So anyway, what's here? وَفُتِحَتِ السَّمَاءُ, without a shadda, the sky will be opened. And it's recited with the shadda, وَفُتِحَتِ السَّمَاءُ, and the sky will be opened, but with the shadda there has intensification, more. Like, for example, you say in Arabic, qata'a. Qata'a, it means to cut. And you say qata'a with a shadda. Qata'a, now it means to dice, to do it much more, or have more frequency. Or you say in Arabic, qatala. Qatala, it means to kill. But if you put a shadda, you'll say qatala. Now it means to massacre. It means to do it a lot. So here this ayah is recited, وَفُتِحَت, it will be opened, and it was recited, وَفُتِحَت, so it means more, has more frequency or intensification. A shuqqat linuzul al-malaikah, meaning that the sky shall be cracked, broken. It will be broken into pieces so that the angels will come down. Yes, shadda on the ta. So that the angels will come down through its openings. فَكَانَتْ أَبْوَابًا. And so the sky would be like something that has gateways. فَصَارَتْ ذَاتَ أَبْوَابٍ وَطُرُقٍ وَفُرُوجٍ, meaning that the sky will become something that has openings and pathways and crevices. وَمَا لَهَا الْيَوْمَ مِنْ فُرُوجٍ. And today, presently, the sky has no such crevices. قال الشيخ. Sheikh said, Al-yawma ma fiha furuj. Presently, there are no crevices in the heavens. Al-furujul kharq. That means there's no cracks. There's no breaching in the sky. There's no breach in the skies. A shibhatu tahaddum, meaning what resembles ruin, what resembles collapse that doesn't exist in the sky. Al-ana laha abwab. There are in the sky now doors or doorways. Laysa bihay'ati al-kharab, but it's not in the form of collapse, ruin. So the ayah, though, is talking about that the sky will be crumbled. أما ذلك اليوم يصير فيها شكوك وتخرب. As for on that day, there shall become in the heavens cracks and ruin. أما الآن لها أبواب. As for now, it does have doors or doorways. وعليها حراس لا يفتحون إلا لمن أذن له. And those doorways in the heavens have guards or sentries. They do not open except for someone who has permission. Jibrilu laylat al-mi'raj istaftah. On the night of al-mi'raj, Gabriel sought for the gate of the heaven to be opened. Faqila lah. And so it was said to him, Man, who are you? Faqala Jibril. He said, I am Gabriel. Faqila lah wa man ma'ak. And it was said to him, and who is with you? Faqala Muhammad. And so he said, Muhammad. Fafatahu lah. And so the angels opened up for him. Intaha. That's the end of what the Sheikh said there. وَسُيِّرَتِ الْجِبَالُ. And the mountains will be set into motion. عَنْ وَجْهِ الْأَرْضِ. Upon the face, upon the surface of the earth. فَكَانَتْ ثَرَابًا. And so they will be like a mirage. Meaning, those mountains will become like dust particles. Dust particles, the sun makes them look like they are water. Inna jahannama kanat mirsada. Indeed, hell lies in wait. Kanat mirsada. Yani, indeed, hell kanat mirsada. So, kana sometimes it's going to mean was or is. Sometimes going to mean becomes, might. You need to pay attention to the context there. So let's see what the Tafsir has for us here. And mirsad, The mirsad is like the place of ambush. Like, did you ever see a sniper and he's laying somewhere covered in foliage, etc.? He's just laying there waiting. So that's his mirsad. Or maybe someone's hunting the deer. He's up in the tree and he's waiting. طريقاً عليه ممر الخلق. An-Nasafiyy says it means indeed hellfire is a path that the creations طريقاً عليه ممر الخلق. It's on their way. The hellfire is something that's on their way. طريقاً عليه ممر الخلق. فالمؤمن يمر عليها والكافر يدخلها. Concerning the believer, he shall pass by it, if he doesn't enter it, of course. And as for the blasphemer, he shall enter it. وقيل المرصاد الحد الذي يكون فيه الرصد أي هي حد الطاغين الذين يرصدون فيه للعذاب. And it was said that the mirsad is the limit where the ambush is, or the observation is. Meaning that the hellfire is the limit for the unjust ones, for the transgressors. Those who are pinpointed, those who are designated for the torture. وَهِيَ مَآبُهُمْ. And that's their resorts. That's to where they shall go. It's in their pathway. That hellfire is in their pathway towards paradise, because that hellfire is in their pathway towards paradise. Because they have to cross the bridge from the reformed earth to paradise, and the bridge goes over hell. لِلطَّاغِينَ مَآبًا. For the transgressors, that means here the blasphemers, it is a resort, that hell. لَابِثِينَ فِيهَا أَحْقَابًا. لَابِثِينَ فِيهَا أَحْقَابًا. Dwelling therein for ages. Labithin means makithin. That means staying there. Halun. And this is in the place of adverb. Halun muqaddaratun min ad-damiri fi lit-taghin. So labithina yani للطاغين مآبا لابثين هم لابثين أي الطاغين وهم لابثون أي الطاغين أي الطاغون. So the meaning is hellfire is for the transgressors, the blasphemers, a resort as they stay there, as they dwell there, because it's adverb, hal. As they dwell there, labithin fiha, as they dwell there. And it was also recited labithin. So labithin with an alif, and labithin without an alif. And if you recite it, labithina fiha ahqaba, labithin, that's even stronger in meaning, that they stay. Because al-lubth in Arabic language means staying, dwelling. So who's the one who has lubth? A labith. So labith means a stayer or a dweller. But this form of the word, as we're going to read now, when you say it like that, labith, it gives the meaning that not always, sometimes staying, sometimes not. I'm talking just in language here, not the tafsir of the ayah. So if you say labith, just the form of the word in the language, it would mean sometimes staying, sometimes not staying. Just like if you're a darib, a hitter, that doesn't mean you're always hitting someone. Or if you're an akil, an eater, that doesn't mean you're just always eating and you never stop eating ever. So like that, labith, someone who's staying, doesn't mean you're just always staying and you never stop staying. But if you say labith, then it means that's what you do. You stay. Labithin, they stay. So that's why the author said, وَاللَّبِثُ أَقْوَى. Labith is stronger. إِذِ اللَّبِثُ مَنْ وُجِدَ مِنْهُ اللُّبْثُ وَإِنْ قَلَّ. Because a labith is someone who has some lubth, staying, dwelling, وَإِنْ قَلَّ, even if it's just a little bit. Just the fact that he did the act of lubth, staying, even if it's a little bit in the language, you can call him a labith. وَاللَّبِثُ مِنْ شَأْنِهِ اللُّبْثُ وَالْمَقَامُ فِي الْمَكَانِ. As for labith, this means this is someone who, his case is that he stays, doesn't change from that. Doesn't change from that. So that type of adjective in Arabic, it's called sifa mushabbaha. Sifa mushabbaha. That's a little bit hard to explain why it's called that. But that's what it's called. Sifa mushabbaha. And sifa mushabbaha has the meaning of dawam, constant, being constant. Anyway, I don't want to stay there long. I think it's clear. I'm not going to give you examples in the language and stuff like that. If you have a question, you can ask me. I'm just going to keep going for now, inshallah. So, labithina fiha ahqaba. They will stay in it for ages. Ahqaba, ages. ظرف جمع حقب وهو الدهر. Ahqab is a prepositional nominal. In this case, yani, that means ahqab here is a word referring to time. Let's say it that way if you want. This is a word referring to time, ahqaba, for ages. Jam'u huqub, the word ahqab is the plural of huqub, age. Age meaning an expanse of time, not like how old you are. What's your age? Not that meaning. Like they say an age, like qad yuqal, they say the Iron Age, the Ice Age, the Bronze Age, an age. وَهُوَ الدَّهْرُ, it means time. And this word dahr maybe has some other usages. Would be worth investigating that word, dahr, time. وَلَمْ يُرَدْ بِهِ عَدَدٌ مَحْصُورٌ. And it's not meant by this that it's a limited time, a limited number. This does not refer to a limited number of ages. Balil abad. Rather, it means forever. They will be in there for ages means they will be in there forever. كلما مضى حقب تبعه آخر إلى غير نهاية. Whenever an age passes, a new age follows it forever, with no end, without that ever stopping. You know, Allah Ta'ala, He creates into the unending future. His power has no limits. ولا يستعمل الحقب والحقبة إلا إذا أريد تتابع الأزمنة وتواليها. And the word حقب and حقبة, they are not used unless what's meant by them is successive times, successive passage of time. وَقِيلَ الْحُقْبُ ثَمَانُونَ سَنَةً. And it was said that a huqb is 80 years. وَسُئِلَ بَعْضُ الْعُلَمَاء عَنْ هَذِهِ الْآيَةِ. One of the scholars was asked about this ayah. فَأَجَابَ. Something here is not clear for me. When he says, فَأَجَابَ بَعْدَ 20 سَنَةً لَابِثِينَ فِيهَا أَحْقَابًا لَا يَذُوقُونَ فِيهَا بَرْدًا وَلَا شَرَابًا أي غير ذاقين حال من ضمير لابثين. فإذا انقضت هذه الأحقاب التي عذبوا فيها بمنع البرد والشراب بدلوا بأحقاب أخر فيها عذاب آخر. Okay, so it's not clear for me because it doesn't indicate clearly for me, unless I missed it. Doesn't indicate clearly for me where this scholar's quote ends. So one of the scholars was asked about this ayah, and so he answered, whoever printed this copy has a colon here. So according to that, then, but doesn't mean that the author An-Nasafiyy, when he originally wrote his book, that he put colons there. There's a good chance that he did not put any colons there, because this is hundreds of years ago. Or do the colons belong here? فَأَجَابَ بَعْدِ 20 سَنَةً كَذَا. And then where does it stop? It's not clear for me. So, خلاص, here where he says, وَسُئِلَ بَعْضُ الْعُلَمَاءِ عَنْ هَذِهِ الْآيَةِ فَأَجَابَ بَعْدِ 20 سَنَةً. All this, I'm just going to, for me, put that between parentheses. If you want to ask about that, go ahead and ask about that. لا يذوقون فيها بردا ولا شرابا. They, or not tasting therein anything cool, nor a drink. Not tasting therein anything cool, nor a drink. So if we back up and see the flow of words, Inna jahannama kanat mirsada. Indeed, the hell lies in ambush, or something like that. لِلطَّاغِينَ مَآبًا. For the transgressors, a resort. Ma'aba. It doesn't say what's that. The i'rab of ma'aba. لَابِثِينَ فِيهَا أَحْقَابًا. While those transgressors are dwelling forever, dwelling in it, in hellfire for ages, meaning forever. لا يذوقون فيها بردا ولا شرابا. Not tasting therein, yani. So dwelling therein for ages, not tasting therein anything cool, nor a drink. A غير ذاقين, meaning not those who taste. حال من ضمير لابثين. That's adverb. Yani this part of the ayah, لا يذوقون, is like an adverb. So it means not tasting. So someone might translate that as they do not taste. You could translate it that way. But if you want to get that meaning of hal, the adverbial function in the sentence, then you translate it more like not tasting. لا يذوقون فيها بردا ولا شرابا. Not tasting therein anything cool, nor a drink. فإذا انقضت هذه الأحقاب التي عذبوا فيها. Then when these ages in which they are tortured come to an end. Tortured how? بِمَنْعِ الْبَرْدِ وَالشَّرَابِ. These ages in which they are tortured by being deprived of anything cool or any drink. بُدِّلُوا بِأَحْقَابٍ أُخَرٍ. Then they will be given other ages. فِيهَا عَذَابٌ آخَرٍ. And those ages will have another torture. So each age comes with its own torture. وَهِيَ أَحْقَابٌ بَعْدَ أَحْقَابٍ. And those are ages after ages, لَا انْقِطَاعَ لَهَا, with no cessation, never stopping. وَقِيلَ هُوَ مِنْ حَقِبَ عَامُنَا. And it was said that this mentioning of ahqab in the ayah comes from, if you were to say in Arabic, haqiba amuna, which means our year had a famine. Our year had a famine. إِذَا قَلَّ مَطَرُهُ وَخَيْرُهُ. That's what you would say if that year had little rain and little goodness. وَحَقِبَ فُلَانٌ إِذَا أَخْطَأَهُ الرِّزْقُ. And you say about someone, حَقِبَ, that's a verb, حَقِبَ. He haqibed, حَقِبَ. What you would say that, why? If he missed the sustenance, if the sustenance passed him by. فَهُوَ حَقْبٌ. So then he would be, such a person would be a haqb. He'd be a haqb, someone who missed the provision. وَجَمْعُهُ أَحْقَابٌ. And then the plural would be ahqab. So that's what's mentioned in the ayah. So لَابِثِينَ فِيهَا أَحْقَابًا. According to that, it would mean فَيَنْتَصِبُ حَالًا عَنْهُمْ أَيْ لَابِثِينَ فِيهَا حَقِبِينَ جَهِدِينَ. It would mean they will be in hellfire like people who suffer from a drought and who missed their sustenance. وَلَا يَذُوقُونَ فِيهَا بَرُدًا وَلَا شَرَابًا. And then the next ayah, not tasting therein anything cool nor a drink. That explains their being in a drought and having missed sustenance. وَقَوْلُهُ إِلَّا حَمِيمًا وَغَسَّاقًا. Except the scalding, boiling water and the boiling pus. استثناء منقطع أي لا يذوقون في جهنم أو في الأحقاب بردا روحا ينفس عنهم حر النار أو نوما. So here, as you can see, it says إلا, except حميما وغساقا. So if you looked at the previous ayah, لا يذوقون فيها بردا ولا شرابا. Not tasting therein anything cool nor a drink. You might have said, wait a minute, but don't they drink the boiling water and the pus? So why he says they don't drink, they don't taste the drink? Not tasting something cool, I understand, but how can we say they don't taste a drink? So Imam An-Nasafiyy, he says, well, firstly, the next ayah makes an exception. Illa hamima wa ghassaqa, except, so it means they do have a drink. Except the hamim, the scalding water, wa ghassaqa, and the boiling pus. Not the, a. Except some hamim, that's indefinite there. Except some hamim, some scalding water, and wa ghassaqa, and some boiling pus. Istithna'un munqati'. So this is an exception. The ayah has in it an exception, and istithna' munqati'. Now I'm not going to explain that since the author didn't make me have to. So there's an exclusion there. You have one ayah, لا يذوقون فيها بردا ولا شرابا, not tasting therein anything cool nor a drink. إلا حميما وغساقا, except scalding water and boiling pus. So they do drink something, but it won't be cool. أي لا يذوقون في جهنم أو في الأحقاب بردا روحا ينفس عنهم حر النار أو نوما. But here's a question that Imam An-Nasafiyy answers for us. They don't taste fiha, in it. If this pronoun there, fiha, if that means it, in it, then it's talking about hell. They don't taste in hell anything cool nor a drink. But if fiha refers to the ahqab, the ages, then the meaning is la yadhukuna fiha, they don't, or not tasting during those ages, barudan wala sharaba, something cool nor a drink. But they do drink something, so there's an exception. Illa hamiman wa ghassaqa, except scalding water and boiling pus. So the meaning is they don't taste there in hell, or they don't taste during those endless ages, bardan rawha, any soothing coolness. Yunaffisu anhum harran nar, something cool that will relieve them from the heat of the fire. Oh, nauma, nor will they experience any relieving sleep. وَمِنْهُ مَنَعَ الْبَرْدُ الْبَرْدِ, and therefore you could say in Arabic language this sentence here, مَنَعَ الْبَرْدُ الْبَرْدِ. Very literally it would mean the cold has prevented the cold. What it means is أي البرد الذي يريح هذا الذي لا يوجد. What it means is the cold has prevented the cold. That's very literal translation. The bard here, it means the hostile situation. That's the first bard there. And then the second one, same word, bard, but it means the relaxation, the serenity. So, mana al-bardul bard is saying the hostile situation has prevented relaxation. So why are we saying all of that? To draw attention to the word bard. That's what's in the ayah. La yadhukuna fiha barda. They do, or not tasting therein any bard, anything cool. So, meaning they have no relief in hell. وَلَا شَرَابًا يُسَكِّنُ عَطَشَهُمْ, nor shall they taste a drink that will quench their thirsts. وَلَكِنْ يَذُوقُونَ فِيهَا حَمِيمًا, rather they taste therein حميم, ماء حارا يحرق ما يأتي عليه, water extremely hot, scalding water that burns whatever it falls upon. وَغَسَّاقًا, and they taste their غَسَّاق, مَاءٌ يَسِيلُ مِنْ صَدِيدِهِمْ, fluid that flows from their pus. وَبِالتَّشْدِيدِ كُوفِي غَيْرَ أَبِي بَكْرٍ, and غَسَّاقًا is recited without the shadda. جَزَاءً وِفَاقًا, jaza'an, a payment, a payback, a recompense. Juzu jaza'a, yani they are paid a payment. They are paid back for what they were doing. Wifaqa, compliant, agreeing, fitting, a fitting payment. Muwafiqan li a'malihim, something that matches their deeds. Masdarun bima'na sifa. Oh, the wifaq. That part I'm not going to translate. ثم استأنف معللا. Then, after that, a new sentence is started. Yani, he shifted. So I don't want to say he changed the subject. The subject's not changed, but he was saying something now, still in the same subject, but he's saying something else. So, إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا لَا يَرْجُونَ حِسَابًا. So that's the meaning here when the author says, ثُمَّ اسْتَأْنَفَ. Then he started from beginning. It's like he's saying, now he's starting over. Not over, but new. Still in the same subject, but saying something new. Mu'allilan, and giving the reason for the torture that has been described for them. Why they're like that? Innahum kanu la yarjuna hisaba. Indeed, they were not fearing judgment. They were not fearing judgment. La yakhafun لا يخافون محاسبة الله إياهم. They were not afraid of God judging them. أو لم يؤمنوا بالبعث ليرجوا حسابا. Or this means they didn't believe in resurrection so that they would be afraid of being judged. وَكَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا كِذَّابًا. And they belied our signs, a belying. They belied our signs, a belying. Let's emphasize that they belied. They belied a belying. Like if you were to say, you lied, a lie. In English, we don't say something like that so much. We might say something close to that. You lied, a lie. For example, you walked a walk. You might say, I took a walk. I walked a walk. If you said it like that, there's an emphasis in it. Don't you say he talks the talk, for example? There's emphasis in there. وَكَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا كِذَّابًا. And they belied our signs, a belying. تَكْذِيبًا. وَفِعَالٌ فِي بَابِ فَعَّلَ كُلُّهُ فَاشٍ. He's saying here, using this word kidhab in this spot for this form of the verb, kadhabu, is widespread. Why saying that? That's an Arabic lesson there, so we won't go further. وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ كِتَابًا. And everything we have encompassed it in a record. And everything we have encompassed it in a record. وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ here, وَكُلَّ, you see here, there's a fatha on kulla, وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ. That fatha means that there's a verb, but the verb is not mentioned here. So the verb is implied. Which verb should we imply? How do we know there's a verb? Because there's fatha there. That fatha draws the attention to a verb. What's the verb? It's not here. Well, then what should it be? How would we know? The rule is what came after it explains it. So the ayah is وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ كِتَابًا. The meaning is أَحْصَيْنَا كُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ كِتَابًا. So we have encompassed everything. We encompassed it in a record. نصب بمضمر يفسره أحصيناه كتابا مكتوبا في اللوح. So I translated the word kitab here as record, not book. You would think book. That's the first thing that comes to your mind. But the word kitab in Arabic maybe has more capability than the word book in English. So I'm going to say record here, especially if what comes to your mind from the word book is something that has two covers and a spine and you open it and close it. If that's what book means to you only, then we need another word. Though I think the word book in English can mean more than that. So أحصيناه كتابا. We have encompassed everything, yani the destinies of all the creation in a record. مكتوبا في اللوح. It is documented in the guarded tablets. Halun. So you're saying, if this is a hal adverb, then the meaning is وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ كِتَابًا. The meaning would be, and we have encompassed everything. We have encompassed it as a record, as a record. That's hal. The meaning, the adverbial meaning. We have encompassed it as a record. أو مصدر في موضع إحصاء. Or kitaban here effectively means ihsa'an. Kitaban here means ihsa'an. So then the meaning would be, and everything we have encompassed it, an encompassment. We have encompassed it, an encompassment. And that encompassment is expressed with the word kitab, according to that. أو أحصينا في معنى كتبنا. Or وكل شيء أحصيناه. Or أحصينا means كتبنا. Then the meaning would be وكتبنا كل شيء. We have documented everything. كتبناه كتابا. We have documented it as a record. We have recorded everything. We have recorded it as a record. لأن الأحصاء يكون بالكتابة غالبا. Because encompassing something would usually be by writing. وهذه الآية اعتراض. And this ayah that we're now talking about is parenthetical. Parenthetical, like between parentheses, inserted in the middle. Parenthetical. So that's going to become clear. Let's see what comes after it, and then let's see how it's parenthetical, inserted in between something. لأن قوله فذوقوا مسبب عن كفرهم بالحساب وتكذيبهم بالآيات أي فذوقوا جزاءكم. Because in the next ayah, Allah says, فَذُوقُوا, so taste the torture, experience the torture. And their experiencing that torture is caused by their disbelieving in judgment and they're belying the signs. So let's look at the ayahs up here. Here. إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا لَا يَرْجُونَ حِسَابًا. Indeed, they were not fearing judgment. Yani, for them, that's kufr. وَكَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِنَا كِذَّابًا. And they were belying. They belied our signs. A belying, that's kufr too. And then here's an ayah. That ayah is interjected. As for the meaning that's directly connected to their kufr, it's after that. فَذُوقُوا, so taste the torture. So the meaning is, indeed, they were not fearing judgment, and they were belying our signs, a belying, so taste the torture. But something was interjected in between. وَكُلَّ شَيْءٍ أَحْصَيْنَاهُ كِتَابًا. And we have encompassed everything. We have encompassed it in a record. So taste the torture. فَلَن نَّزِيدَكُمْ إِلَّا عَذَابًا وَالِالْتِفَاتُ شَاهِدٌ عَلَى شِدَّةِ الْغَضَبِ. And there's something in the ayah that testifies to the intensity of the torture, yani their situation. The ghadab here. وَالِالْتِفَاتُ شَاهِدٌ عَلَى شِدَّةِ الْغَضَبِ. Yani, I'm just going to say it a little bit in my own words here. It's not so easy to translate for me. In these verses here, this last verse, فَذُوقُوا, so taste. What happened here? There was a shift in the pronoun. A shift in the pronoun. That means, what was happening here? First of all, remember this, and I'm going to tell you this now, so that for all the tafsir classes, you need this. This way I won't have to repeat it. So please, I might have to repeat it again, but take it now so that it'll be clear when it happens again and again and again. So there's something in Arabic called iltifat. 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 It means turning. To turn. What does that mean? It means that you should know that when it comes to pronouns, you have, I'm going to use English terms here, what they call first person, that's saying I and we, that's first person. I, first person. You have second person, that's you, and you have third person, that's he, I, you, and he. I is the speaker, that's first person. You are the one I'm speaking to, that's second person. He is the one we're talking about, he's not part of the conversation, that's third person. So in Arabic, you have something called iltifat, which is shifting between these three to go from first person to third person, or third person to second person, or second person to third person. Shifting between these three, that happens. It's even in Al-Fatiha. So pay attention. So where did that happen here? Let's see. Innahum, indeed they, that's third person. They were not afraid of judgment. وَكَذَّبُوا, and they belied our signs, a belying. That's third person. فَذُوقُوا, so taste you. That's second person. That's the iltifat, shifting, turning from one pronoun to the other. So the author An-Nasafiyy says here, وَالِالْتِفَاتُ شَاهِدٌ عَلَى شِدَّةِ الْغَضَبِ. It means this shifting of pronouns here is a testimony to, I'm just going to say, the severity, the how much trouble they're in. How much trouble they're in. They're very big trouble. فَلَن نَزِيدَكُمْ إِلَّا عَذَابًا. For we shall not increase you in anything but torture. And the author here says that it was narrated in a hadith, هذه الآية أشد ما في القرآن على أهل النار. This ayah is the strictest verse of the Quran on the people of hell. Excuse me. You should know, though, that the Tafsir of An-Nasafiyy has a lot of weak hadiths in it. This is a tafsir you don't just read in this book on your own. Even if you have ijazah, you need to be careful of this book. If you have an ijazah, then for this book, you still need a copy that will help you. So here he mentions a hadith. What he says is a hadith. But since I know that he has many weak hadiths in his book, I can't rely on his hadiths in this tafsir if I don't know them, for example. So I look down here in the footnote. Whoever edited this book and typed it up and prepared it, what did he say? According to him, this hadith has a weak narrator in it. And he says some other scholars have reported it not as a hadith of the prophets, from Sahaba, reported it from Sahaba. So Allah knows best about the status of that statement as a hadith or not. Let's stop there. Now I feel a little bit more fulfilled. Alhamdulillah. I hope I didn't go too fast. Maybe I was rushing towards the end. So question here.
Sheikh, I don't understand how we explain this. How do you, when you learn this tafsir, do you learn it from this book, or how did you I don't understand it.
You said, how did I learn the book?
Yeah, I mean, the tafsir, yeah, when you get this lesson, is it Sheikh Abdul when he was teaching you, is it from that book, tafsir itself?
This is my exact copy. If you can see my screen, this is my exact copy I read with, what I took with from Sheikh Abdul Razak.
So An-Nasafiyy, exactly, who is he?
Imam An-Nasafiyy, he's a Hanafi who did a tafsir and a Maturidi.
Right.
So he has this tafsir. It's beneficial, especially for beginners like us. It's not as small as Jalalain, for example, which is also, for its size, has a good size for beginners, Jalalain, but it's a little bit more elaborate than Jalalain. So it's good for beginners like ourselves, but it has in it some weak hadiths, and it also has in it some statements that our sheikh doesn't approve.
Yes.
So we're going to read through this tafsir, and then we're going to see whatever commentaries our sheikh has. Basically, this tafsir of An-Nasafiyy, if you want to put it this way, Sheikh Abdullah has commentary of tafsir of An-Nasafiyy. Maybe, if Allah will, maybe the sheikhs will publish that. It would be very nice if they published the tafsir of An-Nasafiyy and put sheikhs' commentaries. So that's what we have here. Like right here where it says Qala Sheikh, took that from, all this is from Sheikh Abdul Razak. Everything here, I copied it. Except some things I might have added into my margins just from other cross-referencing. Here, for example, this thing I'm circling, if you can see my screen. I didn't take this from Sheikh Abdul Razak. I was just cross-referencing, and I found something that means what we took, so I just wrote it down.
Barakallahu feekum.
Now, to give you more clarity, Sheikh Abdul Razak, he didn't you see how I'm explaining some things to you, elaborate. He didn't do that for us. Mostly we were reading. So we were just taking the book and taking Sheikh's commentaries and everything. And whenever he needed to explain, he would explain. And he very much did not add when we read. And I really don't want to. I've tried to do like that, but I have to elaborate because it's a different type of audience. So many things that he didn't have to say because we knew it, because we learned Nahu, we learned other things and Aqidah, it's stuff like that. So we were just able to read with him. And he didn't have to stop at certain points where I'm stopping for you.
Allah fikum, barakallah fikum, was very interesting.
Ameen wa fikum. Okay, mashallah, barakallahu fikum, alhamdulillah, subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.